Hello.
Okay.
Thank you so much again for taking your time. I know this means a lot for me and for our community. Roland is one of my masters. He's one of the smartest human being I ever met. Guys, he has helped a lot of businesses to build and scale and exit. And probably he's the one that is going to give us one of the best insights about how to keep up. And, a lot of you don't know him. So I'll let him introduce himself, who he is. And I know he's going to bring a lot of value on the table here and help us. So thank you again.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, I appreciate you having me here, and it's wonderful to have the opportunity to help people. If there's anybody who has questions, they can put them in the chat, and we can take them as they come. And what I wanted to do was really just share some information that I hope will be helpful to you. And Irina, how long do we have?
We have 1 hour, whatever you have time.
Okay, great. So I'll just kind of run through some information, and then if anybody has any questions, I would be happy to share that information with them. Basically, I think it's important for us to know that we're going to get through this thing. So can you see my screen now?
I do, yeah.
Okay, great. So I think it's important to know that we're going to get through this thing, and at the end, we're sitting here right now, the end of March, early April, right? This is April 1st, and sometime in the future, let's say 3 years, we're going to be looking back at all this and kind of talking about it. And somewhere in the middle, we don't know how long it's going to be. But we do know that it's going to end and life will return to somewhat normal situation. So right now we have to think about, how do we make it? How do we continue our business to what we call the survival line? And this is a model that one of our War Room members, Simon Bowen, created that I'm sharing with you. And I think it's really, really helpful to look at it as deciding how you want your behavior to be as we go through this. So if you think about this survival line, and let's say it's 9 months from now, there are going to be some businesses, there are going to be some people that freeze up and they hunker down and they are afraid to do anything. They're fear focused, and so they're panicking, and so they're not doing anything, right? They're watching Netflix and hoping things are going to be okay, and they won't be if you don't do anything. If you don't do anything and you don't have a ton of money set aside, then it's likely that your business won't make it to the survival line. A lot of people, they don't have 30, 60, 90 days of cash to be able to last them in their business without income. If your business income has been shut down, as many of us, have experienced. So that's not a place that you want to be. But there's another group of people who are going to fumble around. They're going to be indecisive and unfocused. They're going to start something and then kind of pull back and then try something else, but then pull back. They're going to still be fear motivated, but not frozen. And these people in about 3 years are going to be looking back, and they're going to kind of say, well, I made it through and my business is pretty much the same as it was before. But there's another group of people that are going to be on this green line. And on the green line, what it means to be on the green line, it means that you are going to be thinking about fighting your way through this, doing everything that you can to take advantage of every opportunity that's presented, and not accept as a possibility failure, or even that you're not going to thrive. And you're going to be strategy focused, and you're going to think about positioning. And the interesting thing is that depending on where you are on that line, right now it's not that much distance between the lines. If I can get my little slide thing to work here. Yeah, there's not that much distance between the lines, right? If you go where we are right now, you could be on the red line, on the yellow line, or on the green line and be kind of in the same place. But when you get a little bit farther down and we get to that survival line of when this thing is ending, when things start to return to normal, the people who have frozen, their businesses probably won't be here. And the people who are on the yellow line are going to have a little bit of catching up to do at that point. They could still hop from indecisive to decisive, but it's a bit of distance. And the people that are on the green line that are fighting and strategically positioning themselves are going to have a pretty big advantage. And over time, as you move further down, you'll see that these people on the yellow line are still going to be about the same place. And you, everybody that's on this call, everybody that's working with Arena, they're going to be up here, right? They're going to be successful far away from everyone who was indecisive. So it's very important as we're going through this for you to position yourself as somebody that's going to take action, that's going to be decisive, that's not going to be frozen in fear, and that's going to think about the strategies of how to move through this challenge that we're all facing right now in a positive way. So that's kind of the first part in terms of just mindset wise. Please, please, please get past fear. Know that this thing is going to end. Normalcy will return, and don't find yourself out of business or in the same place that you were when you started. Position yourself now to get far ahead. Does that make sense, Serena?
Yes, totally makes sense. Yes.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
So then the question becomes, well, what do I do? And so I've had a lot of people ask me, what are the steps that I should take to get myself positioned to be in ahead of my competition and to make it through this whole thing, like even to survive. And so I created this worksheet that is 4 things for us to focus on. So the first is finance. The second is your people. The third is your operations. And then last but not least is your marketing. So you want to think about these 4 things. And let's go through each of those things. Each of those 4 categories has specific steps that you can take along the way. So the very first thing that I want to point out is that this is a little bit like being in a startup situation, because when your business is closed down, or if sales are dramatically down, you may find that you are operating at a loss right now, or you may have lost all of your income. And if you are, then you have a thing that in the startup world is referred to as runway. And runway is how long can you go on the cash that you have right now and that you expect to receive in the future before you run out of cash and have to find new business, right? So the very first thing that makes sense for all of us to do is figure out, what's our runway? How much runway do we have? And so you want to take the cash that you have on hand right now and then look at your monthly profit or loss that you're running right now. And let's say that you have $50,000 of cash on hand and you're losing $10,000 a month. That would mean you would have 5 months of runway, right? So how can we extend that runway? Because we don't know if this thing's going to be 30 or 60 or 90 or 120 days. Most people that I talk to feel it's 60 to 120 or 9 months or a year. We just don't know. And we don't know the economic ramifications. We don't know when things will completely bounce back. So the more we can be prepared for that, the better off we are. So how do you maximize runway? You take advantage, number one, of all of the newly announced benefits to business that are in the CARES Act that was just passed, that $2 trillion stimulus package. And they're giving away, if you had employees that were on payroll a year ago and you have them now, they're giving away basically 2 months of free money in the terms of a forgivable loan if you're going to continue to employ those people. So for across our businesses, it's been, and I have several different businesses, but in one, it was $700,000 that we'll be getting. It's in another one, it was $1 million, and another one, it was $400,000. It's just free money. So get yourself registered, talk to your bank, go to the SBA site and look at the PPP loans and payroll protection plan, I think it stands for, and get those, because that's just free money. I mean, you're going to be in business. Why not take free money? The next thing would be any lines of credit. LOC stands for lines of credit. So if you've got a line of credit, then how can you get that extended? How can you get more of that? The Small Business Administration in the United States is offering 7A express loans They've been increased. It used to be 350,000 that you could get. Now it's $1 million that you can get. These are loans that are approved on an expedited basis. So that's another thing to consider applying for to get Runway. There are also disaster relief loans that are available. So the SBA just put that site up, I think yesterday. So you can actually go through and get, I believe it's up to $10 million for your business based on how it was performing before. And so there's all of this assistance that's available for you to get more runway. The next thing on the list is to do a 14-day and 12-week cash flow plan. So if runway is important to us, it's very important that we get out of any expenses that are causing us to go negative. So this is treating your business like I would a turnaround. When I go into a troubled business, I do a 14-day cash flow analysis day by day. So I'll write down all of the inflows of cash that I have today and that I expect to receive over the next 14 days. So do that. And then all of the expenses that you know are going to come through over the next 14 days. And then look very, very carefully at your expenses and see if there are things that you have that you're paying for that you're not using. Usually this will be subscriptions. It'll be software that you bought thinking you were going to use, but you don't. It'll be something maybe that you used to use and you moved into something else and you forgot to cancel. All of the things that you are not using right now should be canceled to reduce the outflows of cash to increase your runway, okay? So that's really important. Do that on a day-by-day basis for 14 days. And then for the next 90 days, for the next 12 weeks, you do it week by week. So you've got a projection of all of your positive or negative cash flow. And you can say, okay, well, I've got a negative cash flow right now of say $3,000 a month. So then you'll go through your expenses and your revenue and you'll say, can I cut $3,000 of expenses or can I add $3,000 of revenue so that I stop losing money? That's the goal there. Now, an important note is do not make the mistake that a lot of people make of getting rid of helpful and necessary expenses, right? The software that you do use, the coach or advisor that you've got, the educational program that you're in the middle of now to help you be able to make more money, right? Those things, the mastermind of people that you're working with to help give you great advice and get you through this thing, those are all helpful and necessary. Don't cut those. Cut the expenses that are just not helping you at all right now. And also think about the possibility of integrating barter, because you can trade what you do, your products or services, you can trade with other people who might not be willing to let go of their cash, but who are willing to trade what they've got. Like if you need a product or service, maybe you can trade your product or service for another product or service that you want. So don't forget about barter. A lot of opportunities to do that right now. And then last but not least, accelerate your cash. So if anyone owes you money, if you have accounts receivable, if you've done affiliate sales for someone else, go to those people who owe you money and say, hey, I'll give you a discount if you'll pay me the money that you owe me right now. So that's kind of the finance set of specific steps that you can take. And then the next thing we do is we get to people. So with your people, you want to first think about communicating with your team, because if you are or have been scared during this thing, your team, your employees, they're scared too. And you need to communicate with them and let them know what your plan is and that things are going to be all right. Or if they're not going to be all right, you need to be honest with them and say, I'm only going to be able to have you here for another 2 weeks. And then I'm going to have to, unless we can figure something out. So let's brainstorm and do this. But be honest, be authentic, and be communicative, and delegate and empower them. Most of us are working remote right now. So if you're working remote as opposed to you used to work in an office or a salon or something like that, then you want to be sure that your employees are empowered not to have to be texting or Zooming or emailing you every 5 minutes to get your permission or ask you how to deal with something. You want to empower them with the ability to do those things themselves. with your customers. Get ahead of the cancel. So right now, people who are freaking out about not having enough money are canceling services, and yours might be one of them. The best way to stop that is to reach out to them directly and have a one-on-one conversation with them, human to human. And if they say, I think I'm going to have to cancel your service, then you say, well, here's the deal. I understand I was scared when this all first came down to. Let's go through your numbers. Let me help you. I want to help you. So we'll figure out if you need to cancel, you need to cancel, but let's just go through where you actually sit and where things are. And when you do that, you become a friend, an advisor, and a counselor, and you are actually being a good human. And so that will be likely to make you low on the list of things that would be canceled. And you might just help them see the reality that things aren't as bad as they thought. I had somebody that called me the other day and they said, everybody's canceling and business is down and I'm gonna go out of business. And we walked through the numbers with them, and it turned out that they had over 100 months of cash flow that they would be okay for that long. And they were freaking out. So that put it in perspective, and they were like, oh, okay. So that's really important. The next thing would be to talk to your suppliers. And this could be your landlord, or it could be anyone who's providing you with inventory or anything like that. And it could be even an agency, like someone who's providing you with content or marketing services or something like that. And the few different options that you've got there, one is you can ask for deferral. So landlords, especially right now, reaching out to landlords and saying, hey, I need a deferral of my rent for 30, 60, 90 days. And if you are offering a service like that, if you're a supplier, you can offer a deferral as opposed to a cancellation, or you can offer a reduced payment. Another thing to think about is MFS, which is more for same. And Todd Herman gave me this idea. He said, listen, I'm going to all my suppliers right now, my agencies, my content providers, and I'm saying, I will continue to pay you, but I'm going to need you to give me 50% more than you gave me before. And so that more for same is a way for you to get more value and you to continue to employ them. And it's the same thing that you as a provider can offer to someone who is paying you. You can say, hey, look, right now, I want you to know I've got a little bit more capacity and I'm not going to charge you more, but I'm actually going to give you more because I know it's important to help you during this time. And that will make you an absolute rock star in their eyes to be giving without having been asked, to give them more than they've asked for, and they'll be less likely to cancel or stop paying you. You could also ask for discounts. And with rent and any contract like a lease of a car or equipment or anything like that, you could ask for an abate and add, meaning, hey, if you'll agree that I don't have to make payments for the next 30, 60, 90 days, whatever you want to negotiate, let's just do that and then add those 3 months or the 2 months or month to the end of my lease or the end of my car purchase contract or whatever. So those are some strategies with suppliers. And then with lenders, like people that have just loaned you money, there's really two primary options. One is to double down, to say, hey, I know that I borrowed $100,000 from you, or I have a $100,000 line of credit. Is it possible to double that? Is it possible for me to borrow more money right now during this time that we're going through? And if you are having trouble paying on your debts, then you can ask for a restructure. So, could we cut the payment in half and double the time? We can revisit this in a year, but right now I'm going to be struggling with this. So how about if we cut the payment to 50% of what it was, and then we just make the period of payback twice as long. So there's lots of options there. With respect to operations, the very first thing you want to ask yourself, and this is something that Rachel Miller talked about when she's a Facebook ads person, when I was talking with her, and she said the very first thing that she's asking everybody is, can you deliver right now? Because if you can deliver your service, then you're going to be fine. And it's just a marketing issue. If you can't deliver your service right now, if you were at a salon that was shut down, or a dental practice that's considered non-essential, or you were working at a car dealership or owned one and that's shut down right now, then you can't deliver what you used to. but you can pivot. And so I've seen amazing pivots. It's just really up to you as to how creative you can be. Restaurants are a great example. Restaurants here in California all ordered to shut down, but allowed to do takeout, curbside takeout. So a lot of the restaurants, even fancy restaurants, have pivoted, and they're offering the food that they offered before, only now you can go online, order it, pay the credit card, so you don't have to touch anything. You show up, you tell them your name, they hand you your bag of food, and it's wonderful. And they get to stay in business, and you get to have good food. The ones that weren't able to do that are selling their wine. They're doing box delivery, selling cases of wine to people. So there's all kinds of ways to pivot. That's the first thing. The second thing is, with your employees, we know from our red line, green line analysis that we did earlier that this is going to end. And you're going to want to have your valuable employees still available when this ends. So you can do a few things to not have to fire them. You could do hour reductions, just reduce the number of hours that they're working. You could have them do different jobs than they did before. If they can't do a specific job because they're not allowed to, then maybe you can pivot them to something else. Maybe you can loan them out to someone else who needs them, like as a call center or something like that. You can do furloughs. Virgin companies just ask all their employees to take 8 weeks off without pay voluntarily, and they agreed to do that. You can also convert people who are on salaries to performance pay. So salespeople, marketing people, agencies, all of those people could easily be converted to performance pay. It's also a great time operationally to think about any migrations. If you were going to move from one web domain to another, if you were going to move from a CRM like Infusionsoft to Salesforce, or you were going to deploy some big tech thing that's new and different, there's never been a better time than when business is down. So it's an opportunity for you to have the least amount of impact on your customers and sales to do those things now. If you provide one of those kinds of services, then it's the best time for you to say, hey, customer, this is a good time for you to take my service because it's never been a better time. If you're selling educational services, same thing. And then last but not least, there is going to be a great opportunity that we haven't seen in a long, long, long time to buy media and buy other companies that are not going to make it through this recession, or who are going to falter and not do well and need to be bailed out or want to sell so that they can get cash. So think about, over the especially 30 to 180 days from now, the best deals in a long time on buying Facebook groups, Instagram accounts, YouTube channels, events, live events, virtual events, salons, stores, rental spaces, customer lists. All those things are on sale right now and going to be even better as this time goes along. So don't miss the opportunity to do that. And then if you went back on the finance side and got yourself some runway and got yourself some cash and credit, then you'll have the capital to be able to do those acquisitions. And then last but not least, on the marketing side, there's a few things to think about. One is consumer behavior changes in times of recession. So people move from things that are that they consider to be postponable, like buying a couch or a water heater or a car, or maybe even a beauty treatment, to things that are not postponable. They put those postponable things off. They also, things that are expendable, like impulse purchases, they won't buy those either as much as they used to. But the two categories of product that are not generally affected much in a recessionary environment are essentials and treats. So if you can reposition your postponable or expendable product as an essential product or as a treat, and I'll give you an example, like a beauty treatment with skincare, right? A skincare treatment can be considered postponable, or it can be essential. In this time when we're stuck inside and not able to get out as much, it might be considered essential, or it might be considered a treat, a reward. Reward yourself. You're having a hard time right now. You're working twice as hard. You're staying at home. You've got to take care of the kids that can't go to school. You've got all of these things that are stressing you out. It's time to treat yourself to this otherwise postponable product, right? The other things that you can think about are consumer behavior, usually people will think about buying premium products at a discount right now. So a discounting strategy is a great way to stimulate sales, to say, hey, we're a premium product and normally we don't offer discounts or we don't go on sale, but to help people out during this time, we're making our product available to more people at a better price. And if you're a substitute product, then you can go after those premium products and say, hey, things are kind of tough right now, so it's a good idea to conserve your money. This brand charges more than everybody else, but our brand does what theirs does for less than half the price. Take the Suave shampoo. Ours does what theirs does for less than half the price. That was their slogan for a long time. Hertz and Avis. Avis said, we're number 2. We're the number 2 car company, so we try harder. Think about how to be the substitute for the substitute product or service for the more expensive one that maybe people are taking a second look at right now. Also, it's time to double down on your best performing ads. The 20% of your ads that are delivering 80% of the results, ads are on sale right now because fewer people are advertising. So ad inventory costs less and your competitors have pulled back. There's never a better time to buy more ads. Double down on your most highly performing ads and suck up all the air from your competitors, because people will forget about them. People will remember the people who are advertising and out there in the market right now. So be in the market. The other thing that you could do is move with your existing customers, your current customers. Think about offering one-on-one consults. I mentioned it's important to talk to your most important customers to get ahead of cancels, but it's also from a existing customer standpoint, just to nurture those relationships right now, to get close to them. So your best customers, you should be reaching out, talking to one-on-one, human to human. And then that gives you the opportunity to offer consulting, gives you the opportunity to offer upsells, cross-sells, or even affiliate products if you don't have products that you can sell right now. So definitely think about that. And then last but not least, for new customers, getting new customers. Right now, I know lots of folks that are doing real well with that. We just added 60,000 plus customers to our digital marketer company by making a free offer for 30 days to help people while they're in this environment. A lot of those will convert to paying customers. So you can offer 0% financing right now. That's a very good offer. Offering coupons for discounts, another good offer. Free, like I mentioned, we did give your product free for some period of time, or your service. You could do a challenge. Challenges are performing well right now, where you say, we're going to do a 5-day beauty challenge. And each day while they're at home, they do a different thing. And then they see the benefits of that. And then you offer your product at the end of that. Or you can have your messaging be EBWI, expensive, but worth it. Our product is expensive. We're Chanel, but we're worth it. So there's kind of a list of things that you can do. And I have a worksheet, which you can use to do this as well, which Arena can make available to you so that you can go through the different steps and also say, here's what I'm going to do. Here's the action that I'm going to take right now. So that is my kind of my action plan for how we're dealing with this and how we're helping people get through this. Hopefully that's of some help.
Yes, thank you so much. I think it's really valuable what you were sharing with the audience as well. And we did some questions over here. How long do you think this is going to last?
So my personal thought is that you should expect this to go for 90 more days. The lockdown, the quarantine itself, I think they're going to be trying to lift as soon as possible. I'd be really surprised if they can do that before the end of May. And possibly go into June. We're planning that it's going to stop by June 1st, but I think you want to be prepared for 90 to 120 days. The economic impact, because of the countervailing benefit of this huge stimulus package, and there's another stimulus package that's in the works right now to follow on this one. I think that will have a very, very good mitigating impact on the economy. So it will help stimulate us and get us back to normal quickly. But I do think it could be 4 to 6 months before we really see things pick up. I think it's third or fourth quarter that you get to see your business really taking off again. It should take off really quickly because there's a lot of pent up demand from everybody that's been shut in. So I know people will be eager to get beauty treatments, eager to go to salons, eager to travel again as soon as this thing ends. So I would look for it to really pick up. And you figure this is the first day of the second quarter right now. So if we're still in this in third quarter, I would be very, very surprised.
Yeah, and I think with every single female, like your wife as well, like we are waiting to get our hair done and our nails done. So, like, I think it's important to, you know, understand that the market is not gone. It's just like pause and, you know, yeah. Another questions that we had, it was like, how easy is to access those loans that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, very easy. They've been made available to everyone. So if you go to the Small Business Administration site, they have made those loans available for all businesses. And the two that you're going to be most interested in are the PPP, which is the payroll protection plan, and the emergency disaster relief loan. And I'm going to put for you, Irina, the links to both of those are now in the chat.
Yeah, that would be great. So I can share it with the audience. Okay. So I really love the fact that you kind of like break it down and showing like with like arguments and logic that this is gonna go and it's just temporary. And I guess it's good to kind of like focus on how to survive these days. Any other strategic like tips would you have for like small business owners that, you know, they live from entire beauty industry live based on, you know, only there's returning customers pretty much these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is, like I said, get runway. So if you need instant cash, I can give you, I'll put in the chat. There's a gentleman, and there are several services like this that that will go and get credit cards for you. If you go and try to get credit cards, so if you need cash like right away, new credit card plus cash advance is it's expensive money, but it's a great way to get it if you need it to survive while you're getting these SBA loans. And services like Credit Suite and Ty Crandell can help with that. The way they do it, as opposed to you just calling a bunch of credit card companies, is they put it into software. The software goes out, does all the applications at exactly the same time. So rather than you calling each credit card company and getting a credit inquiry hit, you only get hit by, everybody, but at exactly the same time. And then all of them issue credit cards. You can generally pick up between 50,000 to 150,000 in cash or credit instantly by doing that. So that's a good way to go about that if you need instant money.
Yeah, I think that's like great. And it's really important to, you know, like do not panic, and like there are resources over there, and no matter how bad credit you are, you could still pull, you know, everybody's like giving money now to kind of like support the economy and like small entrepreneurs.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Let me see if we have any other questions. I know you're wrapping up because you have another call. Give me 1 second. Sorry. It's a little bit slow this morning.
No problem.
There was another question about how about independent contractors? Do they qualify to take advantage of those loans as well?
Yes. It depends. If you're an independent contractor with your own company and you have employees, then absolutely, for all of the disaster relief loans, yes. If you are a company and you have payroll people plus independent contractors, you can probably take advantage of the independent contractors you were paying as well. So absolutely worth checking out and applying.
Okay, guys, I don't want to hold Roland more busy because he has another meeting in a few minutes. Roland, if anyone wants to reach you or join your mastermind or get more help, how can they reach you out?
Sure. So I have a podcast called Business Lunch. Definitely talk about fun stuff on there all the time. We got to get you on there, by the way. And also, if you want to go to my socials, you know, I'm / Roland Frasier on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those, YouTube as well. If you're interested in masterminding warroommastermind.com. And if you're interested in more of this kind of like, how could I make money, buy and sell businesses, grow my business, scale, then it's legs, Legs intensive.com. So those are all my places, but I answer all my own messages and everything. So anybody that has questions can just message me.
Yeah, also guys, if you just like follow his Facebook page, he's interviewing all those very small entrepreneurs. I've learned so much by just following his page, and like just he's always posting everything so strategic and so easy for everybody to understand. So just follow him on Facebook and follow his podcast and do your thing. Everything is gonna be okay. And thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.